My name is June Melia, and I am here today to talk with you a little bit about intermittent fasting and how it can be super helpful in helping you reach your health and fitness goals, whether that be help strengthen your immune system or weight loss or help digestion issues, any of that. Intermittent fasting can be a great tool that you can use. And I've just seen a lot of people use it, but maybe not quite the right way. And a handful of tips and tricks from me helps to get them going in the right direction. So I thought I'd share it with you today, and maybe I can help you see that intermittent fasting can be a really great tool if you maybe make some changes. So my first tip to you is, if you're new to intermittent fasting or fasting in general, is to just stick to the 16-8 guidelines for fasting. So that means that there's a 16-hour of fasting window where you're not eating anything for that 16 hours. And then there's an 8-hour window where you are eating 2 to 3 meals in that time period. So that might mean that like 10 to 6 is 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 9 to 5 is your eating window. And that means that after 5 o'clock, there's no food. In the evening, no more food. At 5 o'clock, kitchen's closed. And then at 10 o'clock in the morning, you can have breakfast again. That is sort of a sweet spot for a lot of women, where they can feel like you're getting benefits of fasting without it feeling like it's like this over-the-top project that is painful and is misery inducing. So that's a really good place to start. If you can etch out that window, it's not overdoing it. It's kind of like ideal. It's a really great beginner step. So even if you're, really going for those longer fasts, but those have become hard, or you've tried a 24-hour fast and it doesn't work, I would just really nail down, dial in, and get the 16-8 fast really in on consecutive days for like a chunk of time before you jump into the longer fasts. So the second thing that I would do with fasting, for some reason, women really like having their food time really late, and then the evening time even later. So for example, you would eat at 12 at noon, lunchtime, be like, all right, I'm going to have my first meal at noon. And then that means you have all the way until 8 o'clock to eat if you're doing a 16-8 fast. And I find that it's really much better to edge on the earlier side and have a 9 o'clock breakfast, and then you have until whatever that is, 5 o'clock, and then you're done eating, for a couple different reasons. First, it's really good for us to have digestion mostly completed before we go to bed, so our body can do all the healing and not be focused on digestion when we're asleep. So having 3 hours before bedtime is really great for us, so that we can, like I said, focus on the healing part of nighttime instead of finishing eating at 8 and then being in bed by 10 o'clock and then having your body be like, oh, but I'm kind of still digesting. So it's really best to edge it in to the morning and to the early evening, be done with your food, so that you have at least 3 hours for your body to digest. And then your body's not like, what should I be doing? Should I be resting, like and recovering, or am I digesting? So we don't want those things happening at the same time. So if you are someone who really likes that evening, like the later time food, try bringing it back. Try just an hour. Maybe if you're like a 12 to 8er, can you just bring it back an hour, and maybe bring it back an hour and see if you can edge it back a little bit more, so that you are ending your food time at least 3 hours before going to bed. That would be great. Tip number 3 is no snacking between your meals. So if you're having 2 to 3 real meals, like your satisfied meals, in an 8-hour period, there really shouldn't be much time in between where you feel like you need to eat something. You should be like totally satisfied, and not needing food for that stretch of time, because there's only a handful of hours. Like if you had a meal at 9 and then you had another meal at 12, there's not that much time there. And then if you had another meal at like 4, so you're done eating by 5, there's really not that much time. So you shouldn't be hungry in between your meals. You should be done. Kitchen's closed and you're just having a real substantial meal food in between. Okay, so that's it. No snacking between your meals. And then tip number 4 is just to make sure you're getting enough sleep at night. And this seems a little bit maybe off the mark. It's not really about fasting, but sleep is really important. And if you're not getting really good sleep, and then on top of that, you're trying to fast, it's like double the stress, right? You're not sleeping and then you're also fasting. Your body will be like, dude, I'm done. Like, what are you trying to do to me? Whereas if you're getting adequate sleeping time, then you're getting stronger. Your body's doing all that cleanup, which is what fasting is supposed to be doing. Is it's supposed to be really helping with your immune system and all of that, depending on how long your fasts are. But in general, the reason why you're fasting is to become healthier. And if you're adding a stress of the fasting just becomes more stressful if you're not sleeping, right? And then you're hungry, because we've all been in the situation where when you're not getting enough sleep, you're actually starving, right? We've all been there, because your body's like, show me the energy. And so then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not sleeping. I'm trying to fast. I'm just ravenous. And so it doesn't do you any favors. So make sure you're getting like a good 8-hour sleep, so that you're not in that situation, because that will just end up not serving you well at all. So that's my other tip. And then make sure that this is my last tip, tip number 5, you just want to be sure that in that food period, you're eating enough hearty, real food, that you're not like a grazer, you're not snacking, it's like I'm eating like a real food, so that when you are extending the fast, like towards the end of the fast, you shouldn't feel miserable. You should feel like comfortably fasting, but you shouldn't feel like you're going to pass out or like you're dying of hunger. It should feel like comfortably difficult, maybe, but not like, oh my God, I'm faint, I don't feel good. That's a sign you're not eating enough. We're not looking at calories right now with this. We're not looking at reducing calories right now with fasting. We're just making sure that the food is within a window. So just make sure that you're eating enough in that window so that it doesn't feel like torture when you're going for that 16 hours, because that might be a big jump for you. If you're used to eating from 7 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, it might feel like a real stretch. So in that case, if that is the case, you can do 12 to 12 and then 12 hours and 11 and 13, and like sort of reduce the food window while you're which obviously extends your fasting window. Okay, so those are my 5 tips from me to you, in ways that you can help yourself to make fasting a better experience for you and that make you reap all the benefits that fasting can give you. So that is it for today, guys. If you have an extra tip that you think would be helpful for other people, or like a little fasting story, or anything like that, you are more than welcome to post it below, because we can all learn from that. Little little tricks of the trade are helpful no matter what. And that is it from me today. And I look forward to anything you post below. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.